he's good.
Nothing big on it.
So-
Being whole, is it?
The three sports I wouldn't come for baseball, softball, because softball doesn't lose. And cross country.
There's only the one bidder, so.
Another one. Yeah, just Anna.
So that's what you.
Is one every day?
Right, yeah.
They moved over here before she
We're
got
gonna
high
do
school.
the ag-recycle
program.
first. Okay, everything on the agenda, that one.
And I
And
don't
then we're
think
gonna do the PowerPoint before we do those.
One on Parker.
So after this, bring that
And you
up.
put it in your hour for this one.
Ready to start, Dave?
That's what I'm saying, my kids the other, well, they played soccer.
the only sport.
Branches or this.
Yeah, because they're anybody can play basketball.
Oh, look at that, man.
This is more.
Moving.
It's because they're playing everything else.
Yes, and you're playing it year round.
Uh-huh.
They don't have time for the basketball.
That's exactly right.
Also, the removal of what we agreed last 2 weeks ago.
We didn't buy it because we never got it. So we don't have to do it.
So is that resolution?
It's really good. Conditions are,
Where we're always going to be.
then all the whereases, when they're not applicable anymore, we won't have.
So to our conversation.
Why does it have to be your original?
You put the burner on the back
Keep
burner.
that there.
I
And
put
I,
it
no,
like
you put the burner on the
And you get
trash box.
on SAC.
So we don't have to do anything to.
I'm trying to get a long-term agreement with EPA.
You got mine right now. I'll sign on. I'll sign on.
Grease fire.
They don't understand. They don't understand the rules.
Well, that's disappointing.
And they're kind of conscious.
What are they doing?
He's starting the meeting for you. He's starting the meeting for you.
Snap at him, Chris.
We've already been going for a minute.
As it's
Maybe I will.
6:01, call the meeting to order. If you'd all please join me in a moment of silence. And the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, would you take the roll?
Trustee Nice. Trustee Tribe.
Here.
Trustee Ferguson. Trustee Charo.
Present.
Trustee Gerger.
Here.
Trustee Fletcher. Here. Village President Kinsey.
Here. Public announcements this evening?
Les Morgan with Chattanooga VFW. We're back open for business. The Queen of Hearts is going on right now, and September the 16th, we're having a fundraiser for what they call it, the Cornhole fundraiser for the tornado relief situation to help with all of our expenses that the insurance doesn't cover. So, and then the American Legion will be having, and I'll get more information on that in the next couple of meetings, a golf outing. I think it's the first Friday in October. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other public comment? Or public announcements? Any public comment on agenda topics? Hearing none. No old business. Item 1 under new business is an ordinance approving a contract with AgriCycle for disposal of storm debris. Can I have a motion to bring this to the floor, please?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Trice made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second. I'll second. Who seconded he?
Trustee Charo.
Okay.
Okay. In lieu of the burner, the AgriCycle is willing to come up here and shred that. They've made arrangements with multiple landfills to be able to haul that off. So we're recommending passage of this. Any questions regarding what we're doing here? Further discussion? All right, given that this also waived the bids, we do need 4 affirmative votes on this to pass. So, Mr. Clerk?
Trustee Charo.
Yes.
Trustee Fletcher. Yes. Trustee Gerger.
Yes.
Trustee Try. Yes.
Item 2, before we get to this, Pat, you want to go through?
Yeah.
Pat and Kayla put together some information prior to the time of us reviewing the leaf bag and limb pickup. So,
If you want to.
You want me to?
Yeah. You want to talk?
Yeah, so Pat had me put together what we think we're gonna need to do if we accept these bids from Brown Storm Services for the branch and leaf bag pickup. So if we can go to the next slide.
All right, I was spacing out.
We wanted to give you a little history of the yard waste fee. In 2011, we were at $1 per month per customer, and that went to $2. And then in 2019, we increased that fee from $2 to $4 a month. And at that point in time, that's when we contracted out both the branch and leaf bag pickup services for the first time we did that. And then we also leased a new street sweeper during that year as well. So that was to cover those costs in that year. Here's just a summary of the yard waste expenses that we currently have. So our street sweeper, we pay him out of there, I think at 80% of that, and then 20% comes out of the street department. We've got our spring and fall cleanup expense, which is when we have the dumpsters where everybody can come.
Down at South Park.
Yep. And then, like we talked about, the contracted out spring and fall leaf bag expense, and then contracted out monthly branch pickup expense. Then our street sweeper monthly lease expenses in there. That's actually ending during FY25 in September 2024. We think we're going to keep that for a while after. So that expense will go away, but that's not the biggest expense in the fund. And then we just have a little bit of money in there for the maintenance of the street sweeper to keep it nice and maintained. I did a few graphs just to show you guys what is going to happen if we don't increase the fee, and then if we do increase the fee. This is during this fiscal year, so currently the earliest we could increase it is November of this year. And as you can see on the left, if we don't increase it, your revenue, we've already got higher expenses than revenue with the new, if you accept the new bids. Your cash is starting at $193,000 beginning of this year, and then the difference between the expense and revenue is that decreased line in cash. So you're going to spend your cash down to $62,000 without increasing the fee. On the right, it's showing if you increase the fee to $7 starting in November, and this also, the expenses both include the bids in them, the new bid. So that one, you can see the cash kind of levels out a little bit more. You're still going to spend it down a little bit during this year, but it's going to get a little better. So you're going from 193 to 173. Is that what it says? Yep. And then the next slide I have showing what's going to happen in 2025. On the left, if you don't increase the fee, you're seeing that we're going to go negative if we don't do anything about it in this fiscal year or next fiscal year. So there's that 62 number again, which would be our starting number at 430.24. And then at 430.25, if we have that much expenses and then only that much revenue, we're going to end up at negative 82,000. And then in FY25 on the right, if you increase it to $7, that's why I have it green. You're going to have more revenue coming in than your expenses, and you're going to build that cash reserve up a little bit there. And kind of, I put on the next slide what the summary of what we're talking about. So kind of to give an overview of the pricing. So in FY 2020, that was the first year we contracted out the leaf bag and branch pickup. And that was approximately $196,000 a year. And then last year with Brown Storm Service, we did a 1-year bid contract, and that totaled $218,000 a year. And that's about a 12% increase in cost from the first year that we did it. And then this year, it has gone up, the bid has gone up 44% in costs. So that's what's causing the fee needing to be bigger. So is there anything that
That's it.
okay.
We wanted to show you this before you guys vote on awarding the bids for the branch pickup and the leaf bag pickup, because we can go one more year without a rate increase. But the following year, we need to do at least $3 and possibly $4 or two.
Yeah, you could potentially do $2 this year at $6, starting in November. And then I think you'd still want to increase it to the 7 starting the next fiscal year. But if you stay at 6, which is going into FY25, you're pretty much just breaking even at that point. And that's where, we're trying to cover expenses and then prepare for any future costs that may increase just due to inflation or, raise the salary raise for the street sweeper and things like that. So
The bids are 3-year and 5-year, like you guys had asked, and we put it out that way. And there is not much difference between the 3-year contract and a 5-year contract, other than.
I put that up there.
Maybe you call that.
Yeah, so it's $312,500 for a year if we take the 3-year, and it's $302,500 for a year if we take the 5-year.
Then the leaf bag stayed the same, right? It was the same
Yes,
rate
yes.
all the way through. So if you're looking at accepting bids and don't have to deal with inflation or any kind of growth or anything like that, the 3-year and 5-year, both of them are very, very close. But you could lock something in for 5 years and we know where those expenses are at, and then we can start aiming to target our revenue for that. The cost of the dumpsters in the spring and the fall have been varying the last few years. We still have the same amount of people, but somehow Sangamon County's come up with a voucher system that they give the waste haulers, and that allows them to take large items like what we have in the spring and the fall. The last 2 years, Republic was able to provide vouchers, so the only thing we had to pay them for was the use of the dumpsters and the trucks that were here, and their employees had to pay no dumping fees. We need to keep lobbying the county to keep doing that.
But that's never guaranteed.
But that's not a guarantee. Yeah. So the price of offering that service could go back up to where it was a few years ago.
So if we vote for this ordinance, we pretty much have to vote for the increase.
You're going to have to do it.
You could go one more year without it, but you're going to be.
But we'll be locked into 3 or 5 years.
Go back to the first slide with the graphs. Sorry.
Sorry.
You're good. So this one, if you don't increase the fee, your cash is going to be at $62,000 at the end of this fiscal year. So you definitely would have to, and then the next slide shows if you don't increase the fee again, you're going to be negative on that year. So
we could go one more year without a rate increase.
Yeah. But that's going to deplete your cash pretty low at that point.
The other option is people take care of their own branches and leaves.
And leaf bags, and there is no more dump. So there
Right.
is not a burn pile.
Right.
Every person that had a branch would have to haul it into
Wherever. Now,
dispose of it.
when did we start doing leaf and branch pickup? Was it with,
Go back one more slide.
Contracted out, or like
No.
when we
yeah,
village?
when the village started,
I don't know the answer to that.
do we know?
Yeah, I was on the board back then. I wasn't even employed. So that was 2004, 2005.
We started picking up branches and leaves.
Because that's when the village put in a ban on burning
Got it.
of leaves.
Got it.
And this was put in place as a solution to share the burdens from the folks that have
No trees.
developed trees,
Yeah.
and the people in subdivisions that have no trees. They're all working together to keep It's work, but that cost is slowly increased.
Well, that's a big increase now.
It
It's
is,
not so slow now.
no. But we didn't want to ask for it before it was due.
I get it.
Okay.
So any questions for Pat or Kayla?
No, thank you.
Yeah, that was well done. Thank you, guys.
So with that out there, the next item on the agenda is the ordinance accepting the bid for the increased leaf collection.
And we left the amount of years open that you guys could discuss and decide where you wanted to fall. Staff recommendation is to take the 5-year because that gives us 5 years of knowing what that cost is going to be. And I think one of the reasons the owner of the company's here, Dustin Brown, I think one of the reasons that his price has gone up is because he, in his 1-year contract, he did have to take all of the brush and branches and trees and everything else that got dumped on our haul road down there. It will be closed as soon as that fence and gate gets up. Those most likely will end up at the curb. And that's why he thinks that he's going to have to address that certain amount of tonnage going forward. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we cleaned that dump road, probably 7 times complete.
Yeah.
If you put money to that on what the other contractor was, then I'm still less than what they was that final year.
So if we had the dump, it'd be cheaper? It'd be less expensive if we had the dump?
Well, I mean, what did I?
But we can't burn anymore.
Understand.
Yeah.
And there was extra expense with the dump, like we got billed, that wasn't just a part of it.
Yeah, when National did it, every time they cleaned up the dump road, I had to pay them an extra amount. That was not part of their normal contract because we didn't write that in there. We thought that the dump was going to get closed and it never did get around to getting closed. Now you guys have made the commitment to close it. So that's why we wrote the new contract is you don't have to clean up the dump road because there should be no dumping on there.
But he's got more to clean up out in the streets because of the dump. If you were to go to the dump, that's where they would put it, but they can't do that anymore. So now it's in the streets.
My only issue would be is if we say yes to this, we have to lock into an increase. Could we move this to committee of the whole so we could have a discussion amongst the trustees? Or committee of the whole, the next committee of the whole, not even this one.
So we don't have a current contract.
Right, so that nothing would stop everything would stop getting picked up.
And I think, did you start picking up today? So we asked them to go ahead and start picking up at least for August.
Under the term, yeah, under the old, if we need to.
Under the old terms.
If we need to. With the amount of debris that we had from the storm alone, there's a significant amount of expense in there too.
Right.
It's the elephant in the room, and we have to cover those expenses as well too. So delaying any action on it isn't the greatest idea on as far as to what we do with that fee. We've got to get those bills paid as any other bill that we have. Nobody anticipated the storm, but we do have to deal with all the ramifications from it.
Does it have to be 3 years? Can it be 1 year?
Well, and I was gonna.
Well, I asked that question at the beginning when we did this, and that was when it said to aim it for 3 to 5, so.
The next increase, how many years? What's the estimate there? Just so, can we just keep it at 7 or?
Well, we'll know the biggest portions of that green fee is the limb pickup and the leaf pickup. Those are the biggest chunks out of it.
If you
Make
look,
a promise
if
to
you
that.
look at the list of items that were there, okay? If we know what the cost is going to be for the branches and the leaf bags for the next 5 years, the only other things are one person's salary, another year and a half of payments on the street sweeper, and then whatever it costs to do the spring and fall cleanup.
So we could basically promise not to raise it for another 5 years at least?
No, I cannot promise that.
I tried.
You can promise that. You're elected. You get to vote. I
Give
don't.
me a choice. We're going to tell you what the economics of it are and,
Yeah.
you know, with,
You have some control over it by how long you issue that contract.
Alright.
But that's essentially it. One of the things you could do is you could eliminate the spring and fall cleanup
Yeah,
and say, you know, or eliminate the whole program altogether. And then every resident is responsible for their own leaf bags through their waste hauler and branches through whoever they hire to trim their trees out. And they have to take them off to someplace else to dispose of them, but there won't be a place in Chatham for them to dispose of them.
So are we voting on the increase as well? I mean,
No, you're not voting for the increase tonight.
increase would be a separate item to follow, because that's not on our agenda tonight, but we didn't want to.
But if you vote for this, you're voting.
oh, no,
for
no,
an increase.
yeah, I'm just,
You're going to have to do something is what that cautionary tale was there, to be able to cover to continue that service. So to your question, could we, if you want to table it, we would need to address it within in 2 weeks to have it at that meeting done so that there is a contract in place. If you're not considering eliminating either the leaves or the limb pickup from the program, it kind of becomes moot on whether you do it now versus whether you do it in 2 weeks. Having publicized the bids, we had one respondent, so this is what the offer is.
This is it.
To continue that, so.
At one point, the village did pick up limbs, correct?
We did, we used to take our street department, and they were 2 to 3 weeks a month, depending on, or 2 to 3 weeks for the month, depending on what they were doing when they weren't working on streets. Because we don't have, and they would have to convert their vehicles into a different kind of work function each time. So the trucks they use to work on streets aren't set up to collect branches, so there was time to take it. So anytime we would start to pick up branches, we would stop doing any kind of street work whatsoever. So.
And if you decided to go that route, then we would most likely take the approach of hiring outside people to turn around and do the patches in the street. That may end up costing us more.
So all that to consider.
It's a lot to throw at it, right?
Item 2 is a ordinance to accept the bid for the yard waste and leaf collection. So a motion to bring this to the floor.
Not making that motion.
I'll make the motion.
So we have a motion to bring it to the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second to bring it forward.
There we go. All right, now, now a discussion on the yard waste and leaf collection. So thoughts on,
So our only option is to vote on this. It'd be either we got it or we don't have it. There's no C, D, or E.
so we published for bids for people that were willing to do the work to bid into this
Yeah,
program.
you can't change the game after he's already
Gotcha.
entered the arena.
I got you.
So you either have yard waste and leaves, and this is the twice a year, so spring and fall, leaves, and the weeds, whatever else you pull out of your yard.
Gotcha.
Fits that category.
Or you could go back to the bags like we used to do and put the stickers on them and
Yeah, that's a hassle.
that's $84 per household, is that right? Per month, per year? That'd be 84 per house.
I haven't put a branch out. 10 years.
yeah.
We have a lot of trees.
And we still
to
use
pick up.
stickers because
How much is a sticker these days?
$2.50, $2, $2.50.
We've had houses that have been under 250 bags.
Yeah.
Sure. That makes sense. Some of those big trees, I get it. Sharing the cost, I get it.
And my head is wrapped around all the trees that are gone now.
You look at those.
Work that factor into your mind?
We had a guy come in with his drone and flew over the west end of town. And from the drone pictures, you would not even be able to tell that there was any trees missing. There is still such a huge canopy of trees.
Sure.
In neighborhoods and stuff. It doesn't look like anything's missing at all.
Doesn't look,
When you see those piles, then you're, oh my gosh.
so it doesn't, the whole west side doesn't look like the square, which has been decimated.
It's just sitting on the curb.
Somebody have to pick them up. I mean,
You have to find someone to
just like.
It is an
before.
individual.
Yeah, just like you did before.
I don't like either of those choices. Okay.
I agree.
So on discussion wise,
We're all here to try to answer whatever questions you got.
I'll be honest, I don't feel comfortable making a decision at this moment. I don't know what's best.
okay, that if that's the feeling,
Can I ask you a question, and I don't know if you can answer this or not?
I can try.
What would you do?
Given the experience of seeing the utilization of both of these programs, they're utilized heavily. They do help significantly in beautification of the town, keeping things clear.
Agree.
They help us, especially with the yard waste and the leaves, and getting those things up and out of the way, prevent a lot of sewer clogs and flooding problems. So there's certainly utilization, and there's other cost avoidance that comes in by getting those things out. It is a program that a lot of our residents use. They use all aspects of this program. So I wouldn't be one to suggest that you do away with it. You're just going to be upfront and honest with this is what it costs to be able to do that and provide that into our town. If you're looking purely at leaf bags, you take your $84 a year, that's 33 bags. But that doesn't include the ability to throw away all the large items that appear down in our parks
Right.
twice a year. That doesn't include being able to get rid of any fallen branches or anything that you cut in your yard. All that's in addition to it too. So I don't know what the haulers are charged for if you try to put a mattress or a bed frame out to be picked up curbside,
Right.
you're $10, $20. I don't know what that large item pickup fee
Right.
from a hauler is, but you get your share out of it pretty quick.
Right.
What does Springfield do? Do they have a charge, or do they have the stickers, or what do they do?
I think they do both, don't they?
I'm trying to think. If we have something to compare it to, right? If it is $2,
I don't think they don't fund it the same way we do. It's into
They
other
pick up branches every month either.
okay.
They have
four
times.
quarterly. They do quarterly branch pickup and
Our
spray.
town would look like the square if we didn't pick up every month, because I think the people in Chatham love to prune their trees. What'd you say?
They grow fast.
Yeah.
They grow fast in Chatham.
You can't drive down the street in Chatham any week that there isn't some branch sitting out there, it seems.
But is that $2 a bag something that's feasible? I mean, that's something that's comparable.
That $2 a bag sticker is set by the waste hauler. So Republic might charge different than Waste Management. Our lake area might be different than both of them. I have no idea.
Do you know? Do we know?
No, because we all use.
Lisa might know.
I think,
Yeah, Lisa, yeah,
I believe we have Waste Management, is that the old Allied? Thanks.
No, Waste Management is the green trucks.
Republic. I think it's Republic.
Blue
Yeah.
trucks.
Republic, yeah.
And I believe it is $2.50 a bag. You gotta get them from certain places, because they only accept.
True
their
value.
Yeah, those leaf bags.
Otherwise, I believe the city will pick up leaves as well, like maybe 4 times a year. I think there's leaf pickup 4 times and branch pickup 4 times.
And then they have a contract with
But we pay for it, I think, in our,
Evans Recycling
in our utility.
I have no idea how much.
Utility.
I believe.
Springfield doesn't do leaf pickup at all.
They don't pick up.
Do they not? Okay, then
The homeowners take it in, it's $1 a bag.
there it is, and you have to haul it out there.
If you take it yourself.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have to pay the waste hauler fee.
You got $2.50, you got
On
it.
the brush, as long as they're a resident of Springfield, they can bring in their electric bill and show where their address is, they get to dump there for nothing all year.
They're very picky. About what they take.
So, trustee Fletcher, to
Thank
answer
you.
your
Oh,
question.
that was great. I appreciate it.
Both of these are services that get used. You just have to be upfront on this is what it costs.
Well, it's just that big jump is the only thing that's concerned me, and I knew it was there anyway. I was trying to figure it all out, so just more on 3 than 2, so, okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
So, with the 4 of you here, do you want to move to a vote on accepting either of these? Because if you want to move to a vote, we need to make a decision on a 3-year or 5-year contract. If you want to
Would it,
press it for 2 weeks.
in fairness, it's hard to do without having your other 2 colleagues here on such a large vote that's,
Impacting
Yeah.
to the community.
yeah. Granted, it's, $36 a month for a family,
A year.
or a year, I mean, it's not huge.
87 a year.
That was 84. What is
That's
it?
the total.
Well, that, the increase is 36 more than what you pay now.
I see.
So it's not, I mean, he bought me ice cream the other day, and I think it was $35, so.
Yeah, to get the horseshoe.
I can move forward.
Brett, you want to?
I'd probably be a no at this point, but I was a no last time.
So we got it. The choices, we can move to vote where we decide, or somebody can make a motion to table it, which would put it on the agenda for 2 weeks.
Well, I'm not going to take away people's yard waste pickup, so if you're a no, then I think we should move it and talk about it later, when there are more people here to vote.
Yeah, I'd love to, again, you talk about the west side of town, east side of town. There are people in the west side of town that $84, that's real money. And that's, again, that's the way I look at it.
So then somebody would want to make a motion to table.
So I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second.
And we'll table this and it'll be on the agenda 2 weeks. Item 3 is the limit branch collection. So,
Table it.
we have a motion to table.
Second.
Second.
Hold on. That was,
Gerger and Try.
no, I know, but that's the
Number 3.
limb.
Yeah.
We're going to try.
Item 4 is an ordinance approving a proposal from INB for short-term financing for our emergency expenses. So motion to bring this to the floor.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Fletcher's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Charles. While we continue to work in conjunction with the city of Springfield and the state to gather all of the documentation, the FEMA, and how big's the stack, Kayla? Kayla and Megan have a stack put together that's about that tall, 2 binders at least now.
And then they
Does that mean
still
what-
have to be papered, so
After.
we've not grown the stack, but yeah.
Does that mean as soon as, if we pass this, she's gonna have a whole lot of work to do over the next couple of days?
A lot of the work is done.
Oh, okay, that's good.
What we don't,
This is just the funding for
Sure.
what we don't know is what the ultimate decision on FEMA on what, if any, kind of assistance with the disaster recovery and cleanup will be, and then when any such assistance might arrive. So
Okay,
our vendors and all those that helped us
I agree.
deserve to be paid at this point in time. So we solicited, we put out a request for proposals from the local banks for a 1-year letter of credit up to $5 million. Covers the gamut of it. We will draw down our rainy day funds first, but we want to have that established in there so that we're not rushing and becoming late and incurring any other charges on it. So that's what this is.
Actually, I don't think it's 8 the ordinance.
It's not.
Yeah, I don't see that.
No, because the funding proposal from IMB didn't have.
Anyway, all of our local banks understand what we're going through. And should we need to increase the limit there or increase the timeline, they've all expressed the same willingness. So this is a letter of credit at 5.1%, 1 year fixed. Any further discussion or questions? Mr. Clerk.
Trustee Fletcher.
Yes.
Trustee Gerger.
Yes.
Trustee Charo.
Yes.
Trustee Try. Yes.
Item 5 is a resolution for improvements under the Illinois Highway Code. This is the Plummer Boulevard grinding and resurfacing project. A motion to bring this to the floor.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Charles made a motion, second by Trustee Try. Jim has explained this one to you before. This is now that the state has said, yes, this is an eligible project. Fill out this form and submit your resolution. So that's where it is.
And then the next steps we'll discuss in the committee of the whole.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk.
Trustee Try.
Yes.
Trustee Charo.
Yes.
Trustee Fletcher.
Yes.
Trustee Gerger.
Yes.
And can I have a motion for the consent agenda to the floor?
I can make that.
Trustee Fletcher's made a motion. Second.
Second.
Second by Trustee Gerger. Discussion regarding the warrants or the minutes. Hearing none. Mr. Clerk.
Trustee Try.
Yes.
Trustee Fletcher.
Yes.
Trustee Charo.
Yes.
Trustee Gerger.
Yes.
Any public comments on village business? Next board meeting will be 6 p.m. on August 22nd. No need for a closed session. Take a motion to adjourn the board meeting.
Make the motion?
Trustee Trice made a motion, second by
Second.
Trustee Charo. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. All yours.
Done.
All right.
Hold on 1 second.
All right.
It is 6:35, time to call the committee of the whole to order. Roll.
Trustee Try. Here. Trustee Charo.
Present.
Trustee Gerger.
Here.
Trustee Fletcher.
He's here.
Village President Kimsey. He's here as well.
Skipped out. Library.
Any public comments on agenda topics? Hearing none. Move along to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to bring the consent agenda to the table?
I will make that motion.
Trustee Fletcher has made a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Gerger has seconded the motion. Any discussion on the minutes from July 11th?
Minutes.
Hearing none. Roll.
Trustee Gerger.
No?
Trustee Fletcher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trustee Charo.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Trustee Try. Yes.
All righty. So moved. No old business. New business. Is there a CMT engineering update?
Well, hi, Jim. You've gotten much taller. Shaved your goatee off.
Jim is.
A goatee?
There's something up here.
Uh-huh. When you go to the
present.
CM&T.
I hope you're okay with that.
I heard him say.
I was going to remote in if I needed to.
Oh, all right. Shall
So,
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, that's not
ready? Overlay Plummer Boulevard from Ptarmigan to at least Park Avenue. We're gonna try to go as far to the east as we can. That's our goal. We got IDOT approval. They're pulling together the plans to get IDOT's review, concurrence. They posted the stuff to the bulletin for 2 weeks for bidding. The bids will be open and they'll come up with a recommendation on who will award it. We'll notify the contractor and then they'll go out and do the road work. This will all hopefully happen this fall. That's the plan. And we'll work back and forth with the school on what areas need to be open and closed. But essentially, it's the same process that happened on Gordon Drive, where they bring the scarifier and it comes in, picks up, half inch, does the other track, and then one day that it's nice and warm, they come in, put asphalt over the top. It'll be a little tougher still state right of way, so we won't mess with any of that. They'll grind right up to where the state's right of way stops, and then that'll get paved all the way back to Ptarmigan, and then the same thing over on the other side. So all that concrete work that we did last year will get completely overlaid down over the bridge, hopefully under the underpass and all the way up to Park Street. So that's the plan.
That's great.
It is sorely needed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all Jim had.
Okay. Well, then we'll move along
They
to the.
did an outstanding job on Gordon.
Well, yeah, they did,
It was
didn't they?
awesome, so
Yeah.
I just want to add that.
There's no more jump. Can't
No.
look at.
Dukes a hazard?
It's so nice driving through that
Yes.
intersection.
All right.
Vern misses it, because
Oh, boy.
he used to have hair, but he hit his head on the top all the time. I don't know why I said that, but.
Village manager update.
Village manager update. Well, we've been working on finalizing and getting everything taken care of from the storm. Megan and Kayla have done an absolutely fantastic job of pulling all of the bills together and putting it in some kind of order that we can be able to explain to the state and to FEMA. We met with them last week, and there was, 8 people there from FEMA? And afterwards, they just about gave those two a standing ovation for how good a job they did of having everything all. They did, yeah.
Oh, hey, hold on a second now.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Almost.
We can't lose our kid.
So we're in the final stretches of that. We're still waiting for, I think, 2 more bills? Yeah. Yeah. So that should be done this week, and we'll submit all that. Megan has been also working on the audit, and that should be coming. We'll get a report from them, sometime next month?
Final, probably a draft at beginning of next month, and then we're gonna try to get the report presented to you guys the first meeting in October.
Okay. Dustin was on vacation for a week, well deserved, after all the stuff that he had to deal with during the storm. And we're back and getting things going there. Jordan's working out really well with the GIS. It's just been a good team effort. And, a person that never got praised too much during all this was our SEMA director, Trent Thompson. If it wasn't for his expertise and knowledge and being able to, have a good calming influence and stuff like that, it would have been a lot harder.
It's the bourbon.
Yeah, he does like his bourbon.
It was in the supply chain.
Yeah.
Never goes anywhere without it.
Trent's the one that said, bring the accounting team into the meeting as quick as possible. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
The last thing is I would imagine you guys want to discuss these bids or where you want to go. Do you have any idea what other information you need to see that we didn't present today? Or you just need to think about this or come up with, there isn't a lot of alternatives. It's don't do it or do it. And 3 years or 5 years. So and I understand too, that because there's 2 people that aren't here to vote tonight, that you might want to have all 6 here. But hopefully that doesn't keep people away going in the future so that they don't want to have to come and vote.
Y'all have to show up too. He's already called you out.
I'm calling you out because
Y'all have to be here.
it's not always easy where everybody just goes, yes, no, so this one is not an easy one. It is not an easy one. And we'll try to help on anything that you want to know. Okay. So you can call during the week. Whatever you need, we'll put it out to everybody. But
And Trustee Nice and Ferguson, I don't think that they're as informed as we are currently on this. So are they going to have access to all that information?
the PowerPoint was new today, okay? But the rest of the stuff was on board docs since last Friday.
If we rejected the RFP, we could put a new RFP out for just a year, couldn't we? But would that change much? I don't know.
Well, I would prefer to tell you that answer in private instead of in public.
Yeah. Fair.
I'd like more, a larger breakdown of why 44%.
Why you're what?
44% increase.
I think it's what he said is it's due to the dump, how he had to clean the dump up.
That's-
And,
Well, I mean, I quoted their numbers.
yeah,
They were $7,500 every time they cleaned up dump road.
right,
I
right.
cleaned that up 7 times. So if you take my number, 7 times 7, 7,500, you start to play.
Right.
I already know that there's contractors out there, clear as day, leaving everything that they do on a job.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing out to the road for me to pick up. 2 times this year, I ran rebar through my chipper. That was in piles.
But with the
I'm
new,
not gonna sit here and say names, but
with the,
I know who it was.
with the new fence and cameras, we'd be able to catch those people.
Yeah, there will be no more dumping down at the dump road. That'll all be fenced off and we'll have cameras that even if somebody tries to dump something at the entrance.
Correct.
The plan was to have live cameras so that
So
if,
those contractors should be, I mean, especially, I think if we went after one.
but the problem is if you had a large tree at your house
Right.
and you hired them to cut it down
It's
and you said, well, just put it out the road because I pay $7 a month. So that's $7 times 12 months. You're not going to charge me more than $84 to haul that off, are you?
Yeah,
And they put it out there and
yeah.
whoever gets the contract has to pick it up. The problem, the thing is we still have in there that it
4
can't
inches.
bigger than, was it 6 inches in diameter and 8 feet long?
Right.
6 feet long.
Or 6, there we go. I always get those two.
8 inches is
8
our-
inches in diameter. So if it's anything bigger than that, it's just gonna sit there. And people are gonna say, well, how come, can I take this down to the dump? There is no dump.
No.
So people need to get it in their head that if you're hiring someone to take out a tree, you're better off just go ahead and pay them to take it straight to Evans than to turn around and leave it out front. If you lose a branch in a storm or a few things like that, put them out front.
Right.
And that's fair to ask people.
Sure.
But again, and that's good detail, so that way we can talk to the residents in Chatham over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Again, just discuss, because again, this is new information, which is good. I mean, it's, again, no information, right, is bad information. It's good information, so we can think about it. 2 trustees aren't here, which is unfortunate, but again.
It is.
I think it's great information, so that way, I mean, every one of us is in the community.
And
We can talk to them about it and say, because again, you know what, my prayer is the fact that, okay, you know, $84 a year it's worth it, right? I mean, I think we talk about it as, yes, Chatham is a very beautiful place, and we pay to live here for a lot of different reasons, okay, and a lot of different ways we pay for it. Some folks might just say, yeah, but again, I just want to make sure that we have time to talk to folks about it.
And that's why it wasn't on the agenda for you guys to vote on
That's
tonight.
right.
The people living in the neighborhoods with big trees will vote for this.
But I did owe it to the one bidder to get it on the agenda for you guys
And
at
and
least
you've
to
done
look
a
at.
great job.
Absolutely.
By the way, this last year's, a really good job.
And it's not just a buddy saying it, we hear it from everyone.
Yeah,
You
we
guys did
do.
outstanding.
Yep.
Well, I mean, people's come out and said that, I mean, we've done better than the village has. I mean, they're bringing drinks out, snacks out, I mean, it's
Yep.
very nice in the village.
We appreciate you.
And how many total people did you have working for you during the storm?
Just on me,
No, with your subs.
you know, I had 11 whole crews, and I had 3 of my own running, so there's 14 crews. And I mean, majority of them had, we just kind of.
At least 2, yeah, I think we did count them and it was about 40
40 to 50 people he was able to mobilize to be able to help pick that up.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have got the electric up as quickly.
Right.
Wouldn't have got any of it done if we didn't have that mass of people that had the right equipment and the know-how to be able to move all that stuff.
Yep.
And you look at those piles and you can see that. But that's one thing, this is another. So, like I said, anytime during the week, if there's anything that you have questions on and
They're
stuff.
still connected still, but
So do I finish picking up or do I walk away and go back to regular work?
I would like to hire you to do this month, because there are branches out there. The people that were,
There are piles out
Yeah.
there that are 30, 40 foot long, we're cutting up piles, and people are still shoving to the river.
but if you guys want me to shut them off, I'll shut them off and let those pile up for another month. And
no, you definitely don't want that. So how do we figure that out?
well, do you want to, what his monthly charge would have been during that period is over what I can sign for
We would approve a month of,
a month?
yeah, easily.
Yeah, agreed. Just to give people the right time to talk about it and get
Yeah.
our friends
You do
back.
that for that, was it 20,000? Or
The new bid,
on the new bid, your monthly for,
I won't do it for last year's price.
no,
So, but yeah, I mean, I'll do 1 month on this year's bid.
all right.
Shit.
We'll have hopefully some guidance in the next 2
Well,
weeks.
There's no way of throwing this out every day, just because of the number.
Yeah.
I was the only bidder, I mean, either, if you throw it out, you're either gonna have this service or you're not gonna have this service. I mean, already you're gonna have this service for a year, because the village do it themselves.
That's where we're at.
Well, I appreciate the honesty and the clarification during the meeting itself. It was a lot of information, and, another couple weeks, I think we'll have a clearer vision of our path. And it'd be nice to have the other trustees weigh in as well. Maybe ask around. You should visit some neighborhoods with big trees. Come over to my house. Yeah.
That's always what it is.
And everybody around there, and those neighborhoods on the other side too. I see limbs and people, they use this service. And if I got rid of this service, I'd have somebody to answer to, lots of people. So I'm ready to talk about it. Anything else for the village manager?
That's it.
All righty. Okay, so public properties. Nothing.
No, I don't think they met.
No.
Any public comments on village business? Hearing none. The next scheduled meeting for the committee of the whole is September the 12th. And I'll take a motion to, no reason for closed session, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Y'all just want to stay here all night?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Trice made a motion. Can I have a second?
I was putting the dates in. Second.
Okay, seconded by Trustee Fletcher. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. This meeting is